Let's study effectively with Miss ICT Skill Builder.
In an age where cyber threats are constant, understanding how to protect your network is essential. Think of a firewall as a digital boundary wall or a gatekeeper that stands between your trusted private network and the untrusted public internet. In this video, we break down the two main types of firewall: software firewalls and hardware firewalls. Let's begin.
Unlocking and decoding a crucial part of our daily digital lives. We're talking about the ultimate network gatekeepers, firewalls. We'll break down exactly what they are, the hidden mechanics of how they actually work, and the big differences between the ones guarding your network right this second. Let's just dive right into this. I want you to imagine, for a second, leaving the front door of your actual house wide open right in the middle of a super busy city. No locks, no fences, nothing. Well, that's essentially what connecting your local network to the internet without any protection looks like. Without a solid barrier there, the chances of unauthorized trespassers wandering in absolutely skyrockets. So let's jump right into Section 1. Meet the digital gatekeeper. At its core, a firewall is a specialized network security system. It establishes a firm and visible barrier between your trusted internal network and the completely untrusted Wild West of the internet. And here's a fun fact for you. The term firewall actually comes from physical firefighting, where a literal wall is built to stop a fire from spreading from one building to the next. In our digital world, though, its main job is to reject malicious data packets and block hackers, all while seamlessly letting your safe, everyday traffic pass right on through. Moving right along to Section 2, how do firewalls work? Okay, so whenever your computer talks to the internet, it does so using network packets. You can kind of think of these like digital envelopes. They contain a source address, a destination address, and the actual payload or message. Now, these packets try to enter your system through specific entry points called ports. And this is exactly where the firewall steps up, operating on a really strict set of predefined rules. It instantly analyzes the IP addresses, the content, and the port numbers. If the traffic looks safe and trusted, the gate opens. But if it spots something even slightly suspicious, in just a fraction of a millisecond, it drops that packet completely and keeps your network safe. Over time, network security has really evolved, and that's given us three main functional types of firewalls. First up, we have the packet filtering firewall. This is your basic entry-level guard. It just compares each incoming and outgoing packet against simple rules, like a list of allowed IP addresses. No match, it gets dropped. Next, we step up to the stateful inspection firewall, which is sometimes called dynamic packet filtering. Now, this one is much smarter. It doesn't just look at isolated packets. It actually remembers and checks if that data is part of a safe, already established network connection. And finally, we have the proxy firewall. I really love this quote from Simplilearn because it perfectly explains it. Like how you take the authority to represent your friend, the proxy firewall pretends to be you and interacts with the internet. This is also known as an application-level gateway. It literally stands as a middleman between you and the internet, stopping direct connections entirely. It completely hides your device's true identity, vetting the contents thoroughly, and only handing the payload over to you if it's 100% safe. Let's narrow things down a bit in Section 3, Inside Software Firewalls. So a software firewall is a special program that you install directly onto an individual computer or server. Because it lives and operates strictly inside your machine's own operating system, you'll often hear it called a host firewall. Its whole job is to sit right inside your digital house and inspect the data going in and out exclusively for that one specific device. Looking at the pros and cons here. On the plus side, software firewalls are super customizable, really inexpensive up front, and just fantastic for things like setting parental controls or blocking specific sites. But the drawbacks are pretty real. They definitely drain your local system resources, which can slow down your performance. You also have to manually install and update them on every single computer. And perhaps the biggest con, they offer absolutely zero protection to the other smart devices on your network, like your smart TV or your gaming console. No help there at all.
Shifting our focus to the perimeter,
Let's look at Section 4, Inside Hardware Firewalls. Now, unlike a software program, a hardware firewall is an actual physical piece of equipment. Think of a dedicated box or a standalone device sitting on a server rack. You plug your main network cable into it first, meaning it creates a hard physical barrier right at your internet gateway. It stops threats at the neighborhood gate before they ever even get close to your internal systems. The advantages of going the hardware route are incredibly robust. A single hardware firewall gives you constant, simultaneous protection for every single device connected to your network, the whole shebang. Plus, since it has its very own independent operating system, it's way less vulnerable to the kinds of cyber attacks that usually target local machines. And because it does all the heavy computing itself, it doesn't slow down your computer's performance one bit. The trade-off, though? Well, it takes up physical space, it requires a much larger upfront financial investment, and honestly, you usually need a skilled IT pro to set it up correctly.
All right, it's time for the big showdown. Section 5, Hardware versus Software Firewalls.
When we map these trade-offs out side by side, the choices get really clear. You're basically weighing whether you need to protect just one system at a time or an entire network at once. You're looking at paying a lot less upfront for software versus shelling out a higher initial investment for hardware. It's about installing something inside your computer or physically placing a piece of equipment outside your system. And finally, you're deciding between sacrificing a little bit of your computer's speed or keeping your machine's performance totally untouched. Their operational differences really show up in how they block unauthorized content too. If you're trying to moderate exactly what comes into your network, a software firewall is amazing at getting into the granular details, like blocking content based on specific keywords. A hardware firewall, on the other hand, operates way out at the network perimeter, so it's designed for broader strokes, literally blocking incoming traffic from entire domains or websites altogether. Now, at this point, you might be looking over at your home internet setup and thinking, wait a second, I have a router from my internet provider. Doesn't that do the exact same thing? Can't my internet router just replace a firewall entirely? Well, let's bust that myth right now. The short answer is absolutely no. A standard router is not a comprehensive firewall. Here is why. A router does provide a tiny bit of protection, sure, because if incoming data doesn't have a specific destination on your network, the router just discards it. But here's the catch. If a user on your network is tricked into clicking a malicious link, your router thinks, oh, they asked for this data, and blindly lets that dangerous traffic right on it. A true firewall, however, actually inspects the data itself and stands firm, blocking that suspicious payload even if you accidentally requested it.
So, wrapping up this explainer, let's head into Section 6, Choosing Your Network Defense.
What you choose really just depends on your own unique setup. If you're a home user or a small business, prioritizing affordability and an easy setup, starting out with a software firewall is a totally valid and essential move. But if you're running a larger network, you've got a ton of smart devices, or you have really intricate security needs where any drop in performance is a deal breaker, well then, investing in a hardware firewall is absolutely crucial for you.
I want to leave you with this thought as you look at the daily headlines of network breaches and evaluate your own cyber strategy. Ask yourself, are you just a single house relying on a basic door lock, or does your digital neighborhood actually need a dedicated security guard at the gate? Understanding your true risk profile is always the first step to real digital security.
Thanks for watching. If this helped you clear up the concept, hit that like button and share it with a friend who might be struggling with it too. Let's build those skills together.